As always, when somebody iconic in the genre passes away, we do have to do, a brief tribute. You could dedicate probably 8 hours or more talking about Roger Corman's movies, but it's not a sad time because the guy lived a very, very long life. Most of the time he was very healthy throughout that life too. And at the age of 98, there's not too many people that can say that.
Seriously, it wasn't maybe like a month ago that he did that Joe Bob show. That was live. He did the Joe Bob drive-in show, and they had him there with his wife, and like he was lucid and talking, and like you could tell he'd slowed down some. Like, he wasn't like as spry or anything as he had been. But I mean, you're talking about a live show, and they're asking him questions on there, and he was able to talk about everything that they were asking him. I mean, it was crazy. And then he just passed away like a month after that.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through his IMDb filmography. He has 491 producing credits. Now, that's just nuts. That is just insane. Producing credits going all the way back to 1954.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the list of people that he got started in the business, and it's like almost everybody: James Cameron, Joe Dante, Coppola, Jack Nicholson. Like, all these people were in his movies.
Yeah, it's really like he had two different careers, because he had the directing career, which started, let's see, when did he start? I think it was around the same time. Yeah, the mid 50s, has 56 directing credits, has not directed a movie since 1990. So it wasn't something he was more into producing, and definitely, a genius. I used #legend in my post where we had met Roger Corman. I mean, we should talk about that here in a second, but some of the stuff though, just scrolling through that, just fun fucking movies, man, from back in that time frame. And I'm not even that well versed in, the monster movies in the 50s and 60s, horror movies, but The Wasp Woman, Bucket of Blood, House of Usher, the original Little Shop of Horrors with Jack Nicholson, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
The Pit and the Pendulum. Hey, I think he did a whole bunch of like Edgar Allan Poe movies. Tales of Terror, which that one sheet is what I actually had Roger Corman sign. So yeah, that one I think had Vincent Price, Peter Lorre. Been a while since I've seen it. Great movie though, great early anthology movie. Also did The Raven with Vincent Price and Peter Lorre, The Terror, The Haunted Palace, The Mask of the Red Death. Did all kinds of shit with Vincent Price.
I think his Poe movies are the most kind of known of, because he did a lot of those, and I think a lot of people remember those. And then the biker movies would probably be the next, like, because he did a lot of those as a part of the genre too. But like, yeah, I mean,
helped a lot of people get started in the genre though. Like you said, I think Francis Ford Coppola was another one that's, by hook or by crook, he got into the movie making business through Roger Corman. Through the 70s with some of this stuff he was producing: Death Race 2000, Crazy Mama, Eat My Dust, Baby, the Jackson County Jail, Hollywood Boulevard.
My dust.
God Told Me To. He was the producer on that. That was a 4K that I reviewed not too long ago. That's a fun movie. That was who directed that? Was it it wasn't Bill Lustig, was it? Larry Cohen.
Larry Cohen, yeah. Him and Larry Cohen were pretty tight too, from what I recall.
Through the 80s too, like just a plethora of like that, the New Concord Company, which I'm scrolling through. There's so many, Battle Beyond the Stars, which was a fun Star Wars ripoff. I think Screen Factory did like an early Blu-ray of that I picked up. Galaxy of Terror, Saturday the 14th, the Slumber Party Massacre movies.
Yeah.
Just an insane career, man. And we can't mention it all. Mountaintop Motel Massacre, Death Stalker, which we talked about not too awful long ago.
Rock and Roll High School. That was one of my favorites because it had the Ramones.
the Screwballs movies,
Yeah.
the Dirt Bike Kid. So
Yeah,
Chopping Mall.
there's too many movies to even like go all the way through.
Yeah.
But
And there was like 5 projects that he was working on before he passed away.
he basically was like the godfather of independent films like that. I mean, he ushered in so many of them and made the drive-in kind of profitable. He's got a book. It's a great book, and I've got it in there. It's like how I made 100 movies in Hollywood and never lost a dime or something to that effect.
Right.
It's probably more than 100, but like that was the title of something to that effect. And it's really good. I read it when it came out, like, well, not when it came out, but like right before we met him, I actually read it.
At the Fright Night Film Fest, I think the year was 2010. And Roger Corman did not do many conventions that I can remember. Maybe he did some out in the West Coast. Somehow Ken Daniels talked him into being at that Fright Night Film Fest show. And yeah, we got to meet Roger Corman, which honestly, I didn't think that was anything that would ever happen, because I want to be honest with you guys. I don't know if people realize this or not. Roger Corman was a millionaire made over probably like dozens of times.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of stuff, the movies, just the time that he put in. He didn't need to do conventions. He really didn't. But yeah, he showed up. The dude had the coolest room in the whole fucking convention. That's the one thing I remember, because that was one of those Fright Night Film Fest shows that was boiling fucking hot. You can see photos of us from that show. We looked like we're wet because we were.
Fucking dying, yeah.
Right.
Like melted candles or something. Yeah, I mean, the air conditioning was completely broken in the entire place except for a couple places, and like all weekend it was, oh, we're getting it fixed. Like, man, like of the one thing you want to have at a convention of any fucking kind, it's air conditioning. Like that's one thing you don't want to not have. And then so they had him in like the one room that was actually like air conditioning.
Felt great. Yeah, felt great.
Yeah. But that was back when they were doing the thing too, from what I remember, where they were putting like the bigger guys in their own rooms too.
That's when they started doing it, I believe.
Yeah, and that only happened for a brief period of time. But what do you remember about the encounter?
I remember that he was very sharp, but you could tell that he was not used to meeting fans, and like that just it didn't seem like it was his thing. Now, he was very nice. I remember, like, what was he at the time? Probably 86 years old, 84, 85, something like that. He was sharp as a tack. I remember that. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool experience. We got our photo with him and everything. And I just thought that was so unique that we got to meet Roger Corman. Like,
I don't remember him ever doing any other shows either. Do you? Like around this area?
I don't remember him ever. I'm sure in LA he probably did shows from time to time, but I don't remember him doing any other shows. Now maybe, in the comments, people can clue us in if he ever did. He probably did a lot back in the 80s and 90s, possibly. But yeah, this was 2010. I don't recall ever seeing him at another show.
So it's kind of bizarre. I'm glad that I got to meet him. Yeah, because that's something that, like you said, you never think something like that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a legend. He's one of the most brilliant producers that's ever lived, and he's also like launched the careers of a million people. So,
and like I was saying, I mean, a very long life, healthy, long life, 98 years old man. Not too many people can say, if they live to be that long, many of them are in nursing homes, having a miserable experience. Not him. He lived a very healthy, long life. So, just really a celebration of his career, which is a remarkable, I mean, insanely long career, starting back in the 50s, the 1950s.
Yeah.
How amazing is that? And was still working up until he passed away.
He had great stories too, notoriously cheap, and like a lot of the stories that he would talk about how he saved money on a lot of these films and how he hired like the Hells Angels for the biker films, and like
Mm-hmm.
he would pay them for their motorcycles and things like that. There's a lot of really good stories that he has.
Yeah, and it actually said here that he had passed away at home in Santa Monica, California, surrounded by his family. So,
I mean, how the fuck? Yeah, like it don't get any better than that, does it? I mean, you're 98 years old, you're still lucid, you didn't have Alzheimer's or anything like that, like, and you just pass away with your family around. Like that's all you can hope for.
give us the thumbs up,
Up your butt.
like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I want you to.
Okay.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that now.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.
We ain't